Hey everyone, it's Mike from Chess Lifestyle, and welcome back to some more Woodpecker grinding. First of all, apologies for the random times at which these streams have been conducted lately. This is also due to my random sleep schedule, random lifestyle. So I have no idea when I have time to stream. I'm just realizing now even that it's a Saturday. So this actually is a catch-up stream for yesterday. Yeah, so no, I just didn't get the time yesterday to stream, and the reason why we're back to Woodpecker is just because I want to be good. I want to be tactically sharp, and I know that this Woodpecker is going to make a difference. Always tough to get back into it, even after just a few days break, but it needs to be done. And actually, I have a FIDE Rapid and Blitz tomorrow, so every little helps in the build up to that. And in fact, actually, I even have a casual Blitz taking place in, I think, less than 3 hours, 2.5 hours. So basically, this is going to be some good training towards that. Welcome, Noyan, to the stream. Funny that this is the time of day that works well for you. I guess it's a Saturday, right? So no school to worry about. Although it's Christmas, so probably there's no school anyway. I don't know, man. Anyway, let's get into some training. Let's go. So Woodpecker. I had really, really bad sleep. I woke up at such a random time, and then I decided just to do my laundry at 4 in the morning. So, and also you can see from my setup, I'm in a hostel where I don't have a desk. So this is going to be a very budget setup. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any way I can set up better than this. I've just realized there probably is. But hey, I just conducted a lesson from the floor. So if I can conduct a chess lesson from the floor, I can do a stream from the floor. I just had a smart idea. Just wondering if I should change it now. Is it better to sit on a pillow on the floor, or is it better to sit on my bed? Probably the bed, right? So much effort to change it, though. Okay, chat, you decide. Do I change my setup, or do I just keep it as it is? Okay, let's think. So, Jesus Christ, Shirov Karpov blindfold. Brilliant. Yeah, if we can't solve an exercise that someone has been able to solve blindfolded, then we actually need to check in with ourselves. Probably a terrible instinct is to play King G3. That is my first instinct in the position. How terrible is that? With the idea of that, I can try and take the knight and not get checkmated. That's my logic, which is just terrible. Anyway, probably on second thought, rook takes g7 is winning, but anyway, let's actually calculate. So we got queen, rook, bishop against queen, rook, knight. 1, 3, 4, 5 against 5. It's got bishop versus knight. Their knight and queen are surrounding our king, so our king is definitely weak. Their king is also quite weak. So our piece is actually shining quite well close to it. What about tension? So there's tension, bishop to rook. There's also tension rook to pawn. There's tension between the f and e pawns. Tension between the queen and the e6 pawn. Tension between the queen, the black queen, d4 and f3. Knight pressuring f3. Bishop pressuring rook. So yeah, lots of tension. X-rays. So X-ray to the king. Yeah, that's about it. And then loose pieces. This is loose. This is loose. This is hanging. Okay, so with all of that in mind, let's start with our checks. What checks do we have? We've got rook takes g7. That's the only check. Let's just have a quick scan to see if that just wins. On the spot, rook g7, king g7. I guess there's pawn takes f6, or we can make a queen check. Oh, queen b1 is also a check. Almost missed that guy. Oh, that also looks very strong. Right, so queen b1, if they just block with pawn or knight, which they're actually forced to do, then I think we can just go rook g7, and on king takes we can go bishop takes, and then we can pick up the queen. So queen b1, if they block with a knight, we still go rook g7. They cannot take with a knight, they have to take with the king. We can give this bishop check, and we pick up the queen. So that's why it's so important to look at all of your checks. Because I didn't even see queen b1 until like I really forced myself to look at the checks. So queen b1 is very nice. Let's go. Right, so black actually resigned after rook g7 because they saw the point. Very nice. Okay. 777, Polgar against Karpov. All of white's pieces are aimed at a very lonely black king. Thanks, Axel Smith. Okay, so we've got queen, rook, rook, bishop, bishop against queen, rook, rook, bishop, knight. We've got 5 pawns against 6 pawns. I mean, instinct is just to go bishop h7, if king h7, queen h5, king g8, rook h3, and we blunder the rook. So, why are we calculating before we've evaluated? So, indeed, their king looks very weak. We've already lifted the rook to e3. Let me just make sure chat is working. Probably is. It's just a weird time of day. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So... yeah, what is there to note? So, okay, what about the tension? So there's tension on our bishop on e5, we're also protecting it. Tension on the h7 pawn. Tension on the c3 pawn from their queen. Tension on the d5 pawn, the e3 rook. I mean, bishop h7, king h7, queen h5, king g8, rook g3 also looks very strong. Like, you'd think that's winning, but I know all too well not to trust my intuition on these kind of attacking motifs. So, okay, what about x-rays? There's x-ray onto this bishop on d7. Maybe potential for an x-ray like this. Maybe some x-rays to our back rank, we gotta watch out. What about loose pieces? Loose bishop here. Fine. Okay, so what checks do we have? We've got bishop takes h7. What captures do we have? We've got bishop takes g7. Bishop takes c7. Okay, and what about threats? Maybe rook g3, maybe queen h5. Bishop d4 as an in-betweener. Bishop d6 is an in-betweener. Did I mention there was X-ray pressure onto the rooks as well, like this? Okay, so let's begin with our checks. Bishop h7. So bishop h7, they could ignore with king h8, but that gives us a whole extra move. At the very least, we can just retreat. So bishop h7, king h7 is critical. In that position, we got queen h5. We've also got rook h3. We've also got queen d3, queen c2, queen b1. Bishop h7, king h7, queen h5, king g8. Bishop h7, king h7, queen h5, king g8. Could try bishop takes g7. Threatening queen h8 mate. If king takes g7, then rook g3 check. If king f6 blocks, bishop g4 doesn't help. If king f6 blocks, then queen g5 is checkmate. Because there's no king e6 or king f7. Is that all completely forced? Bishop h7, king h7, queen h5, king g8, bishop g7. Can we try anything else in that position? I guess they could push the f-pawn, right? In this position. Rook g3. I guess they can push the f... as in like... yeah, bishop takes g7. Sorry, so not rook g3. Bishop takes g7. They push the f-pawn. Oh, if they push the f-pawn... I was thinking we can go rook takes e8, but... that probably doesn't work. I was thinking rook e8, rook e8, rook e8, bishop e8, queen e8 wins back our piece, but then they win our bishop on g7, so we're still down a piece. But bishop h7, king h7, queen h5, king g8, bishop g7. They try push the f-pawn, so that queen h8 doesn't come with checkmate. Definitely looks promising. Definitely looks promising. I mean, rook e8, queen h8, king f7 forced. Rook takes e8, bishop takes e8. Don't see the knockout. Or maybe bishop d4 hitting the queen threatens some nasty checks on f6 or g7. I can believe that's winning. I can believe that's winning. Should be winning. I don't know how you defend both the threats of queen g7 and queen f6 there. So okay, bishop h7, king h7, queen h5, king g8. Bishop g7. Are there any other possible defenses? They have no checks. I think this is just the answer. Bishop g7. Karpov didn't want to see bishop g7. A classic double sacrifice. King g7, rook g3, king f6, queen g5. Yeah, and in this position, let's find out. Let's find out my line. If they play like f6. Yeah, so I missed... Well, rook g3 now isn't working. I also missed some forced mates. But I was looking at rook e8. Oh my god, I blundered everything. Wow, I'm literally just worse here. That's funny. Oh, I forgot the pawn was on f6. I thought I could play bishop d4. If I could play bishop d4, then I think this indeed is winning. But this is definitely not as strong because now I don't have the double threat. Right now, black has time to defend one of them. Having said that, queen f8 is a very nice defensive move. I mean, even if I could play bishop d4, queen f8 probably actually deals with both Because queen f6, now there's no queen g8 with mate. I don't know, yeah, this kind of attack is just difficult, man. Well, it's not difficult for some people, but difficult for others. You know, never ever claimed to be good at this. Yeah. So many winning moves. I don't know which one is supposed to be the most intuitive winning move. Maybe bishop takes f6 looks very good, actually. Because again, there's no time for black to actually take on e3, which I don't think I realized. And if they take here, then I assume the follow-up is to take this rook. Is it not? I thought this would be winning for sure, but... Yeah, see, like, that doesn't make sense to me, that there can be potential defenses here. And then, in fact, in this position, you just go rook g3 and somehow... Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I've got much attacking intuition in these kind of positions. Like, this looks just as deadly as this line. And line 1 is not completely working, and the other one is. And I guess +5 is good enough as well. Yeah, I don't know. At least we got the idea of bishop g7. We saw I should be winning. Alright, let's do another one. Istratescu, strong 2600 Romanian player against Karpov. White to play. I'm actually so tired. So tired. This is what happens when you stream at a time when no one's online. Because then you actually have to spend more time training. I can't take any breaks from the comments. Alright, let's go again. Queen, rook, rook, bishop against queen, rook, rook, bishop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're pawn down, same color bishops. Our pieces are very threateningly placed around their king. And let's see if Andrei pulls off the feat of beating Karpov. Again, just lazily calculating random lines that are not working. So let's actually complete the method. So what's the method? How do we do this? Tension. So there's tension on g7 with the rook and queen. They've got tension on our bishop on e3. I guess they've got tension on our rook on h6, but the pawn is pinned. So that brings us to x-rays. Yeah, we've got an x-ray onto their king. Maybe some x-ray onto this pawn, but probably irrelevant. They've got some x-rays onto the back rank. Maybe x-ray on our king. Maybe a move like bishop d4 would have some x-rays onto this pawn. Fine, and what about loose pieces? So this feels precarious, but it's not loose per se. Nothing... Oh, queen is loose on g2. Okay. Right, so what checks do we have? We've got rook h8, we've got rook g7, we've got queen g7. No other checks. What captures do we have? We've got rook takes g7, queen g7. Also got queen takes d5. Sorry, queen takes e4. And then what about threats? Bishop d4 could be a threat. Maybe like rook g6, but don't really see it. So okay, let's begin with the checks. Let's start with rook h8. Very forcing, forces king f7. Then we've got the rook sack. Let's try it. Rook takes f8, king takes f8. Probably we should go rook h8. King f7 to keep tabs on the pawn. And do we have a follow-up here? Not that I can see. So okay, rook h8, king f7, were there any alternatives? Again, not that I can see. Okay, what about rook g7? If bishop takes, maybe the follow-up is play rook g6, but I'm not entirely convinced. I mean, sacrifice a whole rook for a pawn. And surely we can just drop back and defend. I mean, we can add pressure, but just don't believe it. I mean, just play like queen e5 at that point, and there's just nothing. The rook is also supported by the pawn, so it's not even loose. Okay, queen takes, just in case. No follow-up. So okay, that brings us on to our captures. What about this capture? If we just take back, I mean, there's nothing. And then in threats, I had this rook g6 idea, but I mean, they can even take. Also, bishop d4. This was a threat. I mean, if they take, we just take and we're probably good. Bishop d4, they give us a check. We can also just move. So bishop d4, what if they play a move like maybe rook g4? I guess we could take. If they take, we take, but then they take, we don't have rook h8 because they've got king f7. Bishop d4, rook g4. Do we have any way to make this work? Or is it going to be a case of like throwing in some move first and then this? But I don't really see what difference it makes. Could also be the sack line with the inclusion of bishop d4 at the end, maybe. King f7 and then bishop d4. But then they can always sack back if needed. Doesn't feel winning. Oh god, I'm very tired. Probably gonna nap after this. I think he's just looking at screen for too long as well. Somehow intuitively, it feels like rook h8 should be working somehow, but just don't see it. Bishop d4, my only problem was rook g4, I think. Otherwise, I was okay with it. So maybe I've got another move here. Don't know though. Bishop d4, rook d4, queen h2. They take on h6, and I'm just busted. And no, I think I have to try rook h8, but I don't see it. I wonder if it's a move that I didn't consider altogether. Let's go for it. It's wrong. Bishop c5. What the hell is that? So bishop d4. This was not my refutation, but it does look a bit dodgy. Bishop c5, rook h8. At least, okay, my calculation of the current lines were... Okay, and rook h8, king f7 gives a clear advantage. So, okay, I did pick the right move given the circumstances. But yeah, I did not have bishop c5 on my radar at all. Which is just trying to deflect for bishop on f8. How did people do in chat? Welcome Bob, welcome the Duck Gang. Duck says, I have 2 more tournament games tomorrow, 4.5 out of 7, 54.8 rating. Nice. I would say that I would recommend not calculating your rating on the go, but I guess if it's really a big motivator, then maybe it can be worth it. Funny that you mentioned the burger method, because I still haven't looked at that, so I guess I've just come to the burger method through the accumulation of many different methods, so that's kind of interesting. Are there any differences from the burger method that I'm doing, Duck, or is it actually extremely similar? It's really stupid that on YouTube chat there's like a big like react button, and it's like covers half of the message. So I can't even see what you said, Bob. You said, oh, just missed that something. But I guess you missed this bishop c5 move. Bob says, playing a tournament as well and can't win any games, molding right now. I don't know what molding means, but it doesn't sound very good. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. But I guess you just gotta just remember that the game doesn't care about any past results. So just go in with a clean slate, and at least that's one nice thing about chess, that you have that chance to reset. So you can keep your mental intact. Play a new game. Hopefully you can turn it around, Bob. And also, if not winning games suggests that you're drawing more, then I guess like remember how resourceful players can be, especially when they're on the back foot. So it's really about like focusing double as hard when you've got the advantage, even though you want to sit back and just be like, oh yeah, I've got this in the back. You can't relax. But bishop c5, yeah, obviously they can't take because we've got mate. And if bishop c5, rook e1, king a2, they no longer have a rook on e2 to play rook a4. So we're probably fine there. So bishop c5, what can we actually do? I guess it's rather simple. They just remove the defender of g7. Like, I don't know why bishop c5 wasn't on my radar. But okay, maybe it will be slightly more on my radar now. So yeah, nice move. It's not even a follow-up. It's just immediately winning. Yeah, rook e7. Yeah, obviously there's mate. Desperate attempt to prolong the game. But yeah, loses an exchange at the very least. Rook e1, king a2, queen c2. Oh yeah, I kept missing that the c2 pawn was loose. I don't know if I even registered that there was tension between the pawn. Like, maybe that's why. I didn't even pick up on that. I just thought that was like an x-ray, but I didn't pick up on the fact c2 was loose. Or weak, I should say. King h8, king f7, rook f8 mate. Nice. Very nice. How are we doing for time? Oh my god, 20 minutes to go. I think it's also tough because I'm sitting in a really bad way. So it's like, I've got like the physical strain, the mental strain from being tired, and just the sheer tilt of having to solve tactics. But let's try and do another one. If we can solve tactics here, we can solve tactics when we're in peak shape. So this is why it's still worth persevering. Oh man, I'm so tired. Oh, it's gonna be a good nap. I better wake up for the tournament today. Oh, I just saw your message, Bob. What happens on Rook H8, King F7, Rook H3? Ah, okay, I can quickly go back and explore this. Which one are we on? 779, so it would be awesome. Okay, so we just wanted to explore this position. So Rook H8, King F7, and just Rook H3 is... Oh, with the threat of Rook F3. Very nice. Queen F6 is a cute move to block with Rook F5. So I guess it's just a little too slow. But yeah, Rook H8, Rook H3, I did not consider that. What was I considering? I was looking at sack ideas on F8, but I just didn't really make it work. Yeah, it's not even good. I was trying to make like Bishop D4 here work, and that just blunders because I didn't see Queen C2. Did not see Queen C2, but even without Queen C2, it's apparently not good. Yeah, you can even try attack this way. It's very smart. Yeah, Queen C2 is very strong. Queen F3, what if they run? What just happened? What just happened here? It's saying that this position is winning for... Oh, winning for black, and then King G6 actually blunders. Okay, fine. Yeah. But okay, yeah. No, Bishop C5 is just much nicer. Okay. Let's keep going. So we've got Rook, 2 knights and a bishop against Rook, 2 knights and a bishop. We've got 5 pawns against 5. Is it not just knight takes G3? I swear to God, Axel Smith, you better not be messing with me. I am too tired for this shit. Knight G3 comes with check. They cannot play King E2. Kind of have to take. And then we just take. And then they go probably King F2 as best. But what are we even calculating? We've already won an exchange, so we're already happy. Am I missing something here? Knight G3, Pawn G3, Rook E3, King F2 with tempo. At the very least, if we're really nervous about, I don't know, these pawns dropping or something, we can sack the rook and then play C4 or something, like, and we stay a pawn up, so it's just gonna be this. Okay, so we did have an alternative move, but here we can just take on E3, pawn takes E3, and then just move our knight. Oh, but then they can win this. No, we just put it back. So we can just win this, surely. Or we can bring the knight back now. I don't know. Do we want to trade off the rooks? Trading off the rooks feels correct. Unless we can argue that our rook does more being behind the pawn than theirs. Maybe there is some argument to be had. Put the knight back on E4 and then just plant the rook on C8. And then push that pawn forward. Yeah, maybe our rook's actually stronger. The more I look at it, the less I like the trade. Because that also improves the pawn, like, prevents this guy being a passer. At the same time, it does feel principled to trade. But no, I'm going to keep the rooks on. Yeah. Instead, black let white into the game with rook e3, fe3, and knight e4, and lost in 47 moves. How did they lose this? Trading rooks reduces the impact of the previously free d pawn and gives whites more active possibilities. So okay, I'm glad I got... Maybe that's the tricky bit, supposedly. But the actual tactic itself, knight g3 versus... Wait, Karpov took on e3? That's horrendous. It's 2009, it's a bit late in his career, but still, like... I didn't think top players would ever make such a mistake. That's quite surprising. Let's see if I position my pieces correctly, if rook c8 was the right plan. So just put the knight back. Yeah, and let's imagine a move like a3 or whatever. Okay, d3 is already strong. Maybe rook c8 now makes less sense because c4 can be met by b4. Although still it looks good. Rook e2. Okay. We try and push. So they can push b4. It's not completely clear. Yeah, and then the bishop even comes back. You can see how this is less strong. Yeah, knight c3 looks like a good way to continue, but... Yeah, let's say some random move like king f1. Rook c8 any good still? Okay, it's not great. And it looks like it's really not liking this plan to push for c4. Yeah, really hates that actually. I guess the problem is it allows this bishop back in the game. Maybe that's more of a big deal. Like keeping that bishop locked out and playing the d4 instead is stronger than the creation of this pass pawn. Yeah. Maybe it's just not so easy to get this pawn rolling as I thought. Knight e8. They try and get their bishop back. Do we have a plan? Just try and block it. Bishop b6. Yeah, not so easy to push. Like if we ever push, then I guess the pawn is just weak. Knight e5. We just make a nothing move. Knight c6. And how do they win still? Oh, my bishop is hanging. Let's not hang the bishop. This also hangs. Okay, so stuff is actually hanging. Didn't see any of this. But yeah, at least knight g3 we saw fairly quickly, and we could tell that we were at least picking up the pawn. So that's good. Okay, let's do one final one, and then I call it a day. I'm really too tired. But I'm glad we at least put in a bit of a shift. Again, is this not just knight g3? Pawn g3 and queen g3. Picking up this guy. Knight g3, if queen takes, we just take immediately. Knight g3. This looks good. Let's say they go king h2, we take. Probably they take with the rook, otherwise if If they take with the bishop, then we go rook b8, and they've got themselves in a pin, so they take with the rook. And then we've got a choice of how to deal with this. Do we try and take, or do we just defend on d6? This looks decent. Think about playing bishop e5, and if they move away somewhere, then we can play f4. It looks very promising. I think it's just knight g3. There are no counter checks. Crazy. King f1. Don't think it makes a difference. That's crazy. Well, thanks Axel Smith for putting this in the intermediate section, along with that infamous Tau bishop c1 move. It's like, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. But okay, I said I'll do one more, and I'm glad we got there. Yeah, e3, pretty bad. Yeah, all seems to be good. Let me just confirm the line after King h2, just to see if my follow-up was precise. Queen b5, Queen b5, rook b5, rook b4, rook b4, bishop b4, taking on e2, good. Taking on d6, bishop e5, good. And bishop b4, my plan was f4 here. So f4 apparently not. I guess the king isn't weak enough on this square. So rather it prefers I keep the pawn, and I actually just try and activate my rook, which makes perfect sense actually. And if the opponent got bishop c5, right, then I go rook d2. Yeah, made sense. Nice. Because next I can play for rook d3, for instance, and put more pressure. Yeah. Okay, guys, I am going to take a nap, then I'm going to go shower, then I'm going to go eat, and then I'm going to go play this friendly Blitz in preparation for tomorrow's rated Rapid and Blitz. So thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we'll get back on a normal kind of schedule in the new year. Yeah, once I'm back in Liverpool. But yeah, this was good. And yeah, see you on Monday for another stream, probably. Okay, bye guys. I'm gonna sleep.